Hey all, welcome to yet another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Mickey behind the camera here, Drew behind the editing desk, and today we're digging into a topic that's very near and dear to me, the safety of the children in our communities. We've got an expert on school safety that's going to talk with us today about things from active shooters to the medical emergencies that can take place at schools. And we're going to talk about some things that you can ask your school board, the principal, the teachers, the people involved in your community that are there hired to keep our kids safe. And you're going to be really surprised when you find out that some of this stuff not only is not being done, but it's not even being talked about. We're going to dig right in. We're going to give you some tools and some ideas that you can help the kids in your community have a better shot at winning in life, winning in violence, winning in calamity, and getting through that school day. Let's dig right in. Welcome to another episode of the CarryTrainer Higher Line podcast. Every day, millions and millions of kids go off to school. Your kids, grandkids, nieces, nephews, neighbors' kids, and we the people, we trust the principals, the teachers, the folks that manage these huge systems, which is a massive part of our government, the public school system and private school system. We trust that they have our kids' best interest in mind. And I think most all of them do. Got a lady sitting next to me who spent many years in the teaching trade, and single-handedly, with the help of many, she wouldn't say this, but I will because I know the story well, implemented a massive change in the school district that she worked in, to the point that they made physical altercations to schools, trained hundreds of people in medical training, created a police force, created systems of communication between EMS, fire, police, and the public, along with a whole bunch of other stuff. And when you hear it, you're going to say, geez, how does one person do that? And that's what we want to talk about today. The safety of our kids is important enough that we felt that we would pass on this information. It's something that we wanted to do for quite a long time. So without further ado, in my voice, Bennett. Welcome.
Thanks, Mickey. Thank you. It's really important. School safety is
important to you?
Super important to me.
So when I met you, you were working with then state senator who was running for governor, and one of the bits on his campaign was arming teachers. Kind of a hot button topic. I think most Higher Line podcast listeners, maybe not all, would probably fall into the category of it being okay to arm teachers. Why do you want teachers armed? Or what does that look like to you? Let's start out with that.
Okay, so that's pretty easy. The data shows that all the places that there has been like active shooter, these places have not been armed.
Okay. So like none of them were armed teachers, right, or armed police in.
Right. So we really don't know what that scenario would be like if teachers were armed. Maybe it would be a better outcome.
Or a deterrent.
Sure. And really, I think that's the basis of that. I think that is a very big deterrent.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
So you started working on educating the public to try to push a statewide bill that, what was the bill?
Senate Bill 1288.
It didn't pass?
It didn't pass. Senator Mastriano did not win the governor's race, so that bill just kind of fizzled out. Yeah.
There's some pretty specific stuff in there. It wasn't just give teachers guns. Do you remember?
Oh, yeah. It wasn't. It really spelled out the training, who could be trained and how they could be trained, the number of hours, the type of firearm, the caliber,
type of ammo, I think you said.
Yeah.
It's quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, it was very specific.
I don't think any districts or states that have passed that stuff have done it flippantly. I hope they take another look at it. You did so many different things with the help of tons of people.
Mm-hmm.
You'll share some of their names and some of those stories. But what we really want you guys to take away as we talk today is that it's up to you. It's not up to you hoping that the principal, who might be an awesome person at your school, or the superintendent or the school board people that you elected. They might all be really great people, but as my friend Sang likes to say, we don't know what we don't know. And there are millions of things that we all don't know. I've got a friend, Todd Fox, for example. Todd's whole life is keeping people safe. So this type of thing, Todd would look at completely different than a kindergarten teacher, right? So talk about what led you down the path of like trying to push this huge agenda of revamping how your school district protected the kids.
So what you mentioned, Senate Bill 1288, and so being a firearms instructor, I'm very used to looking at safety, what's safe around me, what's not safe around me, and trying to remedy that. So the more I looked around my school, two separate schools, I saw different things that just didn't line up.
I failed to properly introduce some of your attributes. So you're a firearms instructor, avid hunter, outdoors person, woman, multiple master's degrees, right? Martial artist. You're into fitness, like athletics and running and things like that. And of course, protecting the kids that you're working with every single day. So I bring this up because through training, you started to see like, oh, I've learned about this. This is an area that is a potential risk for these kids. What were some of the risks that you saw every day?
No, there was like 1,000,001 risks. So different areas of the school building, as far as like the vestibule not being completely closed up like it should be, was kind of weak. Different entrances and exits to the building, unmonitored, as far as
People could just walk in.
Yeah, no surveillance cameras. Maybe not so much people just walking in, but doors being left open. So maybe another staff person went to their car and needed to get something, so they left the door cracked so they could get back in. Or,
I guess with little kids, that's a problem too. They could get away. They could go walking off, a 5-year-old or a 4-year-old.
I've had to chase a couple kids before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So you saw some physical safety stuff.
Definitely.
What did you see when it came to communication between, we'll just start with like stuff at the school itself. Talk about the fire drill story that you shared with me.
So I was teaching at a smaller building, same school district. It was K through first grade, so a small number of students. And the protocol was that you had a folder hanging beside your door. And when there would be a fire drill, you would grab the folder. Inside the folder was 2 rosters. It had all of the information for contacting parents. And it had a red card and a green card.
Okay.
So when you got out to like whatever your designated area was for the fire drill, once you got out there, if you had everybody on your roster, you held up the green card.
Green card.
Green card.
And if somebody was in charge, principal or assistant principal, and they'd look for all the green cards.
Yeah, they would literally have to walk all the way around the building. And while the building was not very big, if that had been an actual emergency, maybe not even a fire emergency, if we had had to evacuate for any reason, walking around the building is kind of inefficient.
And if you needed a problem, you would have to.
Sure. So if my card was red, I don't know what happened. Little Jimmy's not in my line. We were coming back from gym class, heard the fire drill, and, I don't have all my kids.
How many years ago was this?
This was probably 12, 13 years ago, something like that. Maybe a little bit longer.
Okay.
Maybe 15. But it just didn't make sense to me. It wasn't efficient. It wasn't an emergency. Quickness is king. Like, it's good to be quick.
So what'd you do?
I suggested getting radios.
Oh.
And imagine that. Oh yeah, I remember later on that day after school, because we were yelling back and forth to each other, it was easy to not have your folder. Like I was saying, if you were coming back from picking up your class from art or music class, you may not have your folder with you. So now you're going out to this fire drill, you've had to exit immediately, and you had no way to really communicate whether you had everybody in your classroom or if you were missing someone. We had done fire drills before where the actual fire department came in, they ran the fire drill, and they would scoop a kid to see
if somebody.
Yes. Yeah, that had happened before.
So,
which is fine. That's all of a great thing. But if you don't have a way to communicate that quickly, that's a problem.
So I think what we're talking about is something at CarryTrainer that we pound in as systems and procedures that everybody is got on the same page or same sheet of music on, and you didn't have that.
No.
And it's not a dig. As we start all this, I want to make sure everybody knows that we're not trying to insult or impugn people. We don't know what we don't know. And somebody that specializes in the management of a school has got to be thinking about something different than teaching somebody to read or write.
Right.
And sometimes things, especially as this world has evolved, things don't always
and that's just it.
evolve the same way or at the same speed.
It's the evolution of the safety. That was the way that they had done it for years before I ever taught there, the green card and the red card. It's the way it was always done. Let's just keep using something that has always worked.
There's something to be said for simple.
Sure. But it's always worked because there had never been a major catastrophe.
Yeah. You start to just think, what happens if there's a bunch of real smoke and now you just can't see the cards, or there's the sound of fire engines, wow, 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 and all that, and you can't communicate through it.
Right. Or you have a kid that ran out a different door and is on the street side of the building.
Yeah. Scared or hurt or whatever. One of the things that we want you to take away as we do this is to think, man, I wonder if this stuff's happening at my kid's school, so that you can ask. And it would just, you simply say, hey, what's the procedure at my kid's kindergarten or wherever if XYZ happens? And if you don't get a really good response, it means they don't have a really good plan or system. Right.
So the evolution of the radios was magical. It was, imagine that. It was magical. It was much more efficient instead of spending. I mean, think about this from the perspective of administration and standards for learning. We were getting back into the building, instead of spending 20 minutes on a fire drill, it was like a 5-minute ordeal. So back inside, back to learning. We just knew that everyone was safe a lot quicker. You could carry the radio on your belt loop or have it with you no matter where you went. I never left my classroom without my radio.
Because that was communication. Yeah, I like that. What holes did you see in the medical portion of training or capabilities or capacity? And I predicate what we're about to say on this. This stuff has all evolved pretty quickly. Our friend Joel used to always start every discussion on traumatic bleeding control, reminding people that Spartans had windlasses and leather strops thousands of years ago to squelch bleeding. So people knew a long, long time ago that the red stuff needed to stay inside. But we have now we've almost gone overboard on bleeding control, where people are not thinking about other things that are really important. Like you can tell the story of the boy with the nut allergy, but what was missing?
So what I saw that was missing through I had been researching this and reading about it and what was the best to have with mass numbers of school-age children. And it all came back to having tourniquets, having anything that was bleed stopping, like Curlex, chest seals, and also AEDs. All those things we didn't have.
You had one AED in the whole school.
We had, so 2 separate schools that I taught in. The first school had a couple, but they were far removed. They were up by the office. They were far removed from actually where the students were and the staff was. The second school was a much bigger school, and it was new, and there was one up by the
for like 1,000 kids.
Yeah, up by the nurses.
So there's maybe 1,500 people in this building?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it was, my classroom was the furthest classroom from the office.
Then the other part of that is, even though there was one is none. Batteries die, things break, somebody running down the hall drops it and it smashes.
Right. So I think about those things all the time. Like, will that even really work if I needed that? You know, there's somebody that should be responsible for checking those things, but it's not me, and I don't know who it is.
So you started to be annoying and bring this stuff up to staff saying, what about this? What about that?
I did. I was pretty annoying. I talked about it to a lot of my staff. A handful just kind of treated it as like nothing will ever happen. And maybe that's true. But it didn't sit right with me. And I had a lot of support from staff. It was more, I would say, administration. I don't want to say it was pushback, but it was kind of like, maybe we don't have the money for this, or maybe we just don't know about this that much.
Okay.
So
it just wasn't important.
Right. There was a lot of things on the district's plate at the time with finishing school buildings, and I'm sure budgets and all the different things, hirings. And
how did you get it done?
I started really making a very detailed list of things that I observed around the building, such as the fences that had sharp stuff on them, things in stairwells that shouldn't be there.
Blocking egress, or
like a desk or something like that. Coming into school and seeing a door or many doors propped open that should not be open, or maybe going out for lunch, coming back and, the door's not locked or something like that.
Are you just a worrier?
Not at all. No, I'm prepared.
And I'm just being serious. I'm seriously asking, because people might listen and be like, geez, this lady's just like overly.
Yeah, no, not at all.
So I think what I'm hearing is you took the charge of keeping these kids safe seriously, and you wanted to find the potential holes.
Sure. Yeah.
So how?
Because if I can find them, so a bad guy can find them.
Or nature can,
or
right?
Nature, yeah.
I mean, fire doors are like one of the number one things that stop buildings. Of course, the way that we construct things with air stops, fire stopping in buildings, but like a fire door left open isn't a fire door.
Right.
And so go ahead.
I had an issue with that. We had, in this beautiful new building, we had double fire doors, and in the hallway on the landing was a desk right in front of the fire door. It would probably shut it somewhat, but it would definitely get to a point where it wouldn't shut anymore. So then what use is that?
Yeah, none.
Not at all.
So you tried to point these things out, and you got a lot of like status quo, like just get to work, don't worry about it, we'll be okay. We've never that's always a problem when the response is we haven't had a problem before. Like every place that there's been a school shooting that's come up, like it's never been a problem. So
right. Or we didn't leave that door open. That door's not usually open, when chances are that door is open at the same time every day.
Did you ever have parents ask about these things?
Sure. Yeah. So when I was at the smaller building, I was teaching kindergarten at that time. This has been 12 years ago, maybe something like that. Whenever Sandy Hook happened, it was right after Sandy Hook happened. I just happened to be having parent-teacher conferences very closely after that. And probably about 75% of the parents that came in for conferences, they wanted to know, what do you plan? I mean, they were a wreck. They were just in shambles. What will you do for my child? What's the plan? And I had to come up with a plan.
I remember hearing that from parents, just being terrified, sending their kids on the bus, thinking about what they saw on the news every day.
Yeah.
Go back to the medical stuff for a bit. What did you guys end up implementing?
So the medical stuff really turned out very nicely. We ended up getting tourniquets. Like we built go bags, what we would call a go bag with all bleeding control materials inside. Some other things like a whistle, an orange vest,
Oh, cool.
flashlight, all kind of things that I kind of perceived and did some research that would be useful in some sort of a disaster. It didn't have to be an active shooter situation. So we created those every, it was like 2 per grade level, which was considerably a lot. Those go bags went with us on field trips. They went with us every day outside
So you went
to
to recess, you
recess.
grab the bag, walk outside.
Yes, if we went for, we have, we live in a really unique area where we do a lot of classroom settings, um, nature, like we work on the science stuff in nature. So any of those walking field trips, we would take those with us. We had radios. I know that's not really part of the bleeding control, but it is in a way because it allows you to call for some backup and get some help and
More
911.
resources.
Another thing that was really cool too is my school district encouraged teachers to have their cell phones on them. So that was really important because we implemented Raptor technologies, and through that app, you could right away say that you weren't safe without verbally saying it.
Push a button on that.
Yeah, it's to give away your location or something like that. It had a location sensing device part of the app. You could say actually who was missing from your group. It was really a nice feature that we added.
So this is a software that a school would purchase?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So that was a really nice addition. As far as like the bleeding control, more about that was um, we ended up getting every person in the school district, everyone, teachers, cafeteria workers, maintenance, office staff, administration, bus drivers, everyone was stopped.
Everybody got trained.
Yeah.
That's
They were
huge.
given, yeah, it was huge. It was such a big victory for me. It was something that I'm really proud of. So we had days in the summer that they could come in, and really everyone was so for it. They
Yeah, and that's just that
responded
knowledge
really
goes
well
on
to,
beyond the walls
yes,
of the school too.
yeah.
So like a couple hundred people?
Trained?
Yeah.
No, like a thousand, like
Oh,
a
wow.
thousand people trained,
Wow.
probably.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
Did you guys end up having to get like some grant money to buy all this material?
So yeah, there was specific money set aside for safety for schools that we had access to.
Federal, state kind of stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's a big, like that's a big deal, is the how to pay for the stuff.
Yes.
Frames are nice.
Yeah. Fortunately, we live in a community that's pretty giving. And a good friend of mine that I had consulted with several times, his name's Doug Dick, um, works with 911 very closely. He owns Superior Ambulance, and I had gone to him and talked to him for quite some time one day, and I really kind of unloaded all of my uneasiness about all the different things that I was seeing in the school, and he validated my feelings. He said it was pretty much like you would see that maybe like the same idea for like a grocery store. If some disaster was to happen, whether it was a tornado, an active shooter, a gas leak or something like that, um, we would be in a lot of trouble just because the police and fire, state police, 911 services maybe didn't have plans for all these different entities.
And I don't know if I touched on that earlier, but anything we're talking about can be applied to a grocery store, an organization, a family. When 9/11 happened, there's a famous story. I forget his name. Was it Rick? He was like a British military officer that was a security guard there in the World Trade Center, and he had run those people through contingency plans. You remember this? And saved hundreds of
Yes.
people's lives, forcing them when they were told to stay. He said, hell no, we're getting out of here. I'm getting you out of here. And he died in that building, but there's
Saved hundreds.
yeah, there's grandkids of those people alive today that only exist because he had thought about it and made a plan. So you got the training piece, you've got some educational training piece there. You've got some physical stuff that you purchased and put in the building. What about like the physical security of the structure itself?
So that was another big undertaking as well. So I mentioned earlier about the vestibules. We really didn't have like the closed in corridor, like a waiting area for parents or visitors to the school to kind of pass through, kind of like a checkpoint, if you will.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, we didn't really have those. So we worked really hard to build that structure up in a way that it was safe, not just for the office staff to kind of brief those people, but it was also safe as far as the front door of our school.
So you guys did physical construction to the building, built airlocks, put in security cameras. You put in that, what was the system called?
Raptor.
So Raptor was also a system where some pedo was going to come to the school. It would somehow flag him.
Right. So really super easy system to use. You get buzzed into the vestibule. It's a kiosk. You slide your driver's license, and all it's checking for is if you're a child offender.
Allowed in the school or not. So probably a person that was a child offender wouldn't come in and slide their card, but that in itself is a deterrent. Like, crap, they're not going to let me in there.
Yeah.
I gotcha. Some people I'm sure wouldn't like that. It's a little 1984-y, which unfortunately you got so many creeps out there.
Yeah. It came at a really good time. We were coming off of like Sandy Hook and Uvalde. And so I think parents actually embraced the extra security. And maybe it wasn't, very pleasant for the UPS delivery guy dropping off whatever, but who cares?
Sure.
These are our kids to protect. So
you guys had another piece. You created through a state charter a police agency for the school district, which I think most states that I know of have the ability to do that. Some hospital systems do it. I've got a friend that stands those up. I was at hospital systems. What did that look like?
It was a very unique situation that we were able to create our own police force in the school district that I work in. So they know the kids best. They know what's needed. It wasn't like a protocol coming from the city police. So we employed some retired state policemen that were seasoned. They knew what they were doing. They just wanted to, protect the kids, and they were nice, kind, individuals that it takes a certain person to work in the school district.
Sure.
So being a grumpy, crusty old person is probably not fitting for. So we were able to be very selective of who we employed.
Some good dudes.
Yeah.
People often say, like, we just got to find retired veterans, combat vets, and put them in there. And I've always joked, like, I don't know a lot of like spun up combat vets that want to hang out for 6 or 8 hours a day around third graders.
Bunch of screaming kids.
Right. Sure, if they're paid enough, but that's the other thing. These guys aren't not getting paid 6 figures to stand there.
Right.
But that's a deterrent in itself as well.
Yeah.
I think you had mentioned to me that there is the deterrent of armed staff and or law enforcement has been like one of the things that the data threshed out as like the greatest deterrent against school attacks.
Yes. Yeah.
Talk about that a little bit.
So I didn't mention it before about Senate Bill 1288, did I? I don't
know. Go ahead.
So I worked with Doug Mastriano, and we worked on Senate Bill 1288, which was, I had a very small part in that, but I still very much supported it and did some interviews, some radio shows, things like that. supporting it, and that's for teachers to carry, with a lot of parameters involved. And it was very well spelled out, who could carry, what they could carry, the caliber, the ammo, the training, and then the assessment that would take place, and who could train them actually.
Okay,
too.
so there was like
Even
some mandated training.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So under that law, I was actually, I was able to be a trainer for that program.
I see.
So
What average people, moms, dads, I mean, we're average people. How do they do stuff like this? Like, who the heck are you?
I think moms and dads can do it all the time. I mean, they can just be very observant when they go to their kids' school. They can ask questions. It doesn't hurt to ask questions. What is the protocol for this? And sometimes you might get, as a parent, I don't want to say a wish-washy answer, but sometimes you can't say exactly what the protocol would be because you don't know the exact situation. Like if a train crashed and it had some sort of poisonous chemical, is going to be different than a car accident in front of the building. Or, for example, we had to evacuate back inside of our building. Never in a million years did I ever think this would happen. We evacuated back inside because there was a black bear on the playground.
Oh, wow.
So
everybody get in.
Yeah. So a million different things can happen.
A lot of the stuff is, I will say, common sense.
Sure.
There's a black bear, like, let's not all go sit on the swings right now. But
very calmly file back into the school.
Yeah, it requires somebody to think through these things. And if that's maybe a real fringe thing, but it takes the initiative of somebody like you to do it, to force people to change. And I don't think anybody was doing or not doing these things because they were trying to be malicious or like leave kids out in the breeze. You just don't think about it. So you said parents should like observe. What are they observing?
Just look around the physical property. I mean, you could start there. You could look at fences. You could look at classrooms. You could look at windows. You could talk to your kid even. What kind of drills are you doing at school? What kind of preparedness drills are you doing? You could walk through the school building. Where's the AED? Maybe you as a parent might have to use it someday. Maybe you're there for a classroom party or something.
Would it be abnormal for a parent to go to the school and ask the principal, assistant principal, dean, whoever, to say, hey, could I get a tour of the school and hear about the safety protocols and plans?
I think you could do that.
Yeah.
I think you could.
I mean, it'd be pretty hard for them to do that for hundreds or thousands of parents.
Sure.
But that's not what we're suggesting. We're suggesting one person that gives a shit to do something.
There's a flip side to that too. I had a student in my classroom that wore like the little, it wasn't like a phone, but it was a way that they could call their parent.
Oh, no way.
This was a kindergarten. And I had really mixed feelings about it. One, it was very distracting for the student. But when I talked to the parents about it, their reasoning for their daughter to have this was if there's ever any kind of emergency at school, that the daughter could talk to the parents through it and they would tell her what to do. That doesn't work really in a lot of situations because they're not in the physical space or even could imagine. I'm thinking of my school is huge, or could even imagine to tell her how to work through one of those situations. Can you imagine, maybe it's a tornado, 5 years old, and you really think a 5-year-old's going, hey, mom, dad, what should I do?
Go somewhere safe.
Yeah.
Right. What is that to a 5-year-old?
Yeah. Listen to your teacher. my viewpoint on that is train the heck out of your staff, be consistent, have protocols, and teach the kids how to listen, number one, and how to follow through with those things.
So we've got our friend Brian, who is a principal of one of the largest high schools in the state of Illinois. And these are some of the things that I know he has done in that school. Like went in there and was just like, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And enforced a lot of communication. The stuff's it's not fun. You know, people want to get off of work and relax. They pay the taxes for the school to take care of these things. But I think we've so disconnected that we just let the schools do what they're paid to do, but everybody needs oversight. I need oversight. You know, like if left to my own devices, I'm not doing everything I need to do.
Yeah. Same here. That's why I went to actually people that knew more than I did to get advice on how to even get this ball rolling.
Yeah, yeah. Did you have pushback from any parents at all?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. I think more of, if I had any pushback, it was more from staff, just because this was something extra that they had to do.
You know, the only parents things I've ever heard is I don't want to live in a world where teachers are armed, or I don't want my kids to grow up like where there's metal detectors and things like that at school. And my thought always is, well, good, police your community so you don't have little psychopath kids trying to murder other kids, and you don't have you know, these kinds of situations where you need it, but it doesn't work that way. I think the same thing exists in most public sectors where, great, now they're giving me something else. Are you going to pay me for this? You're going to pay me to be trained for this?
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Did you get any? Go ahead.
That's why I was going to say it was really, it was such a win, and it felt really nice to be able to have all the staff trained, and they exchanged a day in the summer, and then they got a free day within a certain time period of the school year. And none of that would have happened if Doug Dick hadn't done all the training for free.
That's amazing.
It is amazing. So it was so many people.
So he trained 1,000 people, or his company did.
And that's like a soft number. I don't know the exact number.
It was up there.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's pretty incredible. Pretty incredible.
Is there any plans for, because this has been going on for years, continuing education? Because we know this stuff's perishable.
Yeah. So just, I think when we were driving somewhere, I can't remember where it was right now. It might have been from the Las Vegas class to California. I had messaged my assistant superintendent, and just to check in. I don't work there anymore, but it's always feels good to know like how your baby's growing. So I checked in, you know, did you get everyone, all the new teachers, you know, caught up on what's going on and trained? And he said, absolutely. He in fact, even, so it was really cool. I was able to work with my administration, and we created a safety team, like a rapid response team. And we met every month, which was really nice. We brought to the meeting, you know, like celebrations, all the cool stuff that we have been doing. But we also were very honest about our faults, like what we needed to keep working very hard on. And whether it was physical security, or if it was the training aspect of the faculty and staff, we were just very upfront and honest where we were with like the Raptor technologies. That in itself is a training as well, so the teachers would understand how that worked. Every teacher had the app on their phone. So there was a lot involved, but we were very deliberate in listing the things that we still needed to work on.
I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and he mentioned our safety team was, I believe, 12 when I resigned. And I think he said they were adding maybe like 5 more spots or something like that, which is really good. Did
you have pushback from the fire or police services on any of the stuff that you were trying to do?
No, it was such a mystique situation. It was when you would talk to one, like a leader in one of the areas, like maybe it was the state police or the fire, it was kind of like, well, they don't want to work with us. And that's what the other one would say about the other one. But in reality, what it really was just lack of communication.
So
I think,
it was this repeated thing that they don't want to work with us, but
yeah, or this group wants to be in control of this whole situation. And really, that was something that we talked about a lot. And that was something that, and it needed to be administration, somebody in a high level position like our assistant superintendent needed to bring all those people to the table, sit down, what is our plan here? And we just so happened, we lucked out, we had a really good assistant superintendent, very good communication skills. His heart was in it for the kids, and he nailed it.
So you brought all of these players together, fire, EMS, hospital system, school.
Not to mention, actually, even across the street is a college.
Oh, yeah.
And they have a police department too. And we really weren't even utilizing like any backup help from them or having that communication to where we could back them up or they could back us up.
Sure.
And they were right across the street.
Sure. If they had a mass casualty, you've now got 100 trained people and some basic life support stuff.
So when I went into the building, that first year after I moved from the small school to the bigger school, I asked for the EOP, which is the Emergency Operational Plan. And it was kind of wish-washy. I think it's here, I think it's there. And I asked several different times to see it. I finally did see it, but it was very dated and very generic. It didn't seem like it really matched the situations, and the EOP did not match the building.
Some boilerplate thing pulled off of Google instead of...
Yeah, it did not.
There happens to be a creek on the north end of this campus that the kids can't walk through.
Yes, and there's
something.
4-lane highway this far away, and there's road tracks here. So looking through it, it was just not a very good feeling at all. To the point where I was just like, this is not even a valid, plan for us to follow.
It's so, when you're not involved in this stuff, it's probably like, I'm a carpenter by trade. It would be like somebody with no knowledge of building a house or very little. Like, we all know what walls and a roof are, so you can envision them, but you can't see what's inside of it if you don't know. It'd be like talking with a butcher about building a house, or a carpenter talking about butchering. Like, I got a little idea, but I don't know. You've created some resources, and you yourself are like the ultimate resource in this, where people can reach out and like say, hey, here's what I'm dealing with. What's that look like? Like, what do you... Somebody calls from Idaho and they're like, I'm a superintendent or I'm a principal. What does that look like? How can you help them?
I would say, give me a call. We'll probably talk through a lot of scenarios. I'll probably take a plane ride out to physically check out the space. I think that's really something that's very much needed. You can't just
put eyes on it.
You have to put eyes on it, and do a very thorough risk and vulnerability assessment, and then go from there.
What about like the pieces of like connecting fire, EMS, blah, blah, blah? Like, do you help with all that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm more than willing and welcome that opportunity. Something that I like to do is connecting the fire, police, EMS, 911 directors. Things have to be done. Like, there has to be unification in those services, so we can create a unifying point for parents to come. We need to have a point where administrators can let the public know what's going on. We have to have points where we can help parents find their kids, those sort of things.
That makes sense.
So yeah,
That makes sense.
all very important. Yeah, I welcome that opportunity and would like to do more of that for sure. Yeah.
We shared a newsletter that you wrote. You talked about, the synopsis of it was mindset. And that's such a, I don't know,
Sure.
overused word in a million ways. People listening to this, if they listen, we're 40 something minutes into this discussion. And we're not talking about, you know, um, the next greatest sports team or something like that that might be exciting to somebody. It could be fairly dry conversation. So if you're still listening, you must care about this. But we often get hung up on the what can I do thing. I myself was there when I got involved in politics. It was out of pure frustration and disgust. And then you just learn like, oh, wow, I really can do this. Like you thrust yourself into this position where all of a sudden your phone rang because people are like, well, I'll call her because she's the one that knows what's up. And then that feeds on itself where then it's just, people then assume because you assumed responsibility, they then assume you are the responsible one. And that goes until you set it down or it's taken away from you or handed off. Talk about the mindset stuff to them a little bit from the perspective of like what that looks like, getting things rolling, believing in oneself enough. I'll let you talk while I get out of your way for a minute.
Okay. So not only did I think that I was going to help out and do some of this, I also thought if I don't do this, who else is going to do it? So if not me, then who? So then I just took off and started doing it. As far as the mindset stuff, motivation is huge. Motivation pushes us to find the answers. It pushes us to educate ourselves. And the biggest part of the motivation is just your resilience to keep moving and keep going.
So how does somebody develop the belief in themselves that they can change government? For what you ended up doing was millions of dollars of investment into a community, hundreds, if not thousands of people affected directly. And then of course the lives of the children that the whole thing was directed towards altered. Oftentimes we don't believe that we have the ability to do that. You're special, but you're not special, right? You're just a person.
Just a teacher, yeah.
Yeah, you're not, I mean, that's not condescending. You're not the daughter of a billionaire or, some person that was like born a certain way. You're a normal human being. So what gives you the right to do it? How do the people listening, what makes them take the initiative to go out and get the shit done? That's the question.
So for me, I looked at the situation. If I didn't do this, if I didn't move forward with this, knowing what I know and the potential hazards, if I didn't do this, who would do it? Would it just continue to be brushed under the rug? Would we not evolve? Like we talked about evolving and becoming more safe and what that looked like. Would that not happen if I didn't follow through with it? So as far as the mindset part of it, being resilient, and a lot of times people say no to you, you just have to keep hammering at it. When you know that something's right and you want to change something, you just keep at it, keep being motivated. You look at other situations where people have had a lot of success, and you try to embody that, use it for encouragement, and move forward with it that way.
Well, that's all good stuff. I hope that the discussion maybe spurred some interest in you to ask some questions at the school that your kids go to. Even if you don't have kids, I've yet to find a community where somebody pays property taxes, even if they don't have kids, that are not supporting that. And you want to be supporting stuff in your community that's increasing property values. Our friend Brian talks about it all the time. His job as a principal directly affects the property values of people, because if the school's not creating well-rounded young adults that have good educations, that get good test scores, people don't want to move to that community. So even if you don't have children, you should want very safe schools that are doing the right thing to protect these kids.
That's something that Brandon and I talk about all the time.
Yeah, it makes good sense.
Yeah. And nobody wants to move into a community where the schools stink.
Right. Or their kids,
or they're not protected, or they're not happy, and they're
or covered in graffiti, or anything less than stellar like that. We all want to create good, sharp offspring. In the description of this video will be a link that you can get a hold of Bennett for these topics, email address, that kind of stuff. You can always head to training@CarryTrainer.com, and hit me up, depending on where you're listening or watching this, because things get spread around on the internet. So if you don't see a direct link, go to training@CarryTrainer.com, say, help me get a hold of the school safety lady, and I'll connect you on that. Parting words from you. Sometimes I ask folks if they never cross the path of the people that got to listen and share with you today, what would you leave them with? Just you.
Well, in this situation, I would say that change is hard, but life is important. And if you feel so strongly about something, even if you're small and you don't have a lot of resources, you can really move mountains. You can move mountains, but you got to put in the work. You got to want to do it. You have to love to do it. If not you, then who?
I dig that. And that's kind of been one of our mantras from day one. In that, who? Our sponsors. I got to remind you of some of those. Supervel Ammunition is super awesome. Supervel invented the jacketed hollow point. Coming right from my mouth. I probably know more about this company than anybody but them, because I've been working with them for so long. The owners are personal friends of mine. We stay at their home, which doesn't mean that I should support them. They become friends with mine because they produce fantastic stuff. I've known this brand for years and years. Made in the USA by awesome, hardworking people. Unequivocally, you can't go wrong if you support Supervel Ammunition. From training ammo to long-range, beautiful rifle cartridges and defensive cartridges like these solid copper hollow points. Check out Supervel. Let them know I sent you. Check out our good friends at Dry Fire Mag. Dry Fire Mag. These are some of the supporters of the S12 event. They are our longest contiguously running supporter from day one of the S12 event. Awesome people, great product. It's a magazine that inserts into your pistol and allows you to press the trigger without having to recycle the slide. Fantastic product. CarryTrainer will get you a discount there. Our own personal brand, Gunfighter Gun Oil, made in the USA, 100% synthetic lube. Fantastic 100% synthetic grease. And then our cleaner. You might have your lube that you like better, but it ain't. Gunfighter Gun Oil. Check it out at gunfightergunoil.com. And then this is our baby. I'm wearing the shirt. You know, everybody nowadays has their own coffee blend or their own coffee brand. We're the only ones I know that actually roast it. We're not just buying some shit in boxes and putting it in packages. We source these beans from Central and South American countries. Kanan created that label. One of these days we'll do a whole video just on what that label means, but the coffee roasts themselves are small batch roasts with a special process called fluid bed roasting. We maybe roast 100 to 200 pounds at a time. The stuff is put on the shelves and sold within days of being roasted, and it gets to the end user within days of being roasted, so it's always as fresh as can be. Super, super high quality, small farms, not big commercial bull crap with a bunch of pesticides and trash. We've got some organic roasts. You can sign up for a coffee club that the stuff will show up at your door. You've got lots of opportunities to buy all kinds of coffee out there, but only one is Ignis Lux, which is Latin for firelight, which denotes the light that burns in your guts, not from heartburn. because our coffee doesn't give you heartburn because of the roasting style. That's one of the main things that we see. So check out Ignis Lux. Our next class, Chicago, Illinois. We're in Detroit after that. We've got stuff in Florida, Las Vegas, New York, Tennessee, Ohio, and a few other points. We hope to see you soon. Bennett, thanks for sharing some of the story today.
Thank you for having me, Mickey.
Of course. And if you guys have questions, throw it in the comment section. If you did some stuff like this in your school district, let's hear about it, because the more of the stuff that we pass on, the more opportunities there are for other kids to be safe. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Walk a higher line. Peace. Visit our website, CarryTrainer.com, for information about classes held throughout the U.S., CarryTrainer apparel, and upcoming projects. You can also email us at training@CarryTrainer.com for information about setting up your own private course or speaking engagement. Training@CarryTrainer.com or CarryTrainer.com.